What is good, Tsla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers, and break down what's happening with the economic calendar moving forward, what's going on with news involving Tesla, and what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin the devil's information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull and deposit $500, you are guaranteed 20 free stocks. If you deposit $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 75 of them. And the offer ends very soon in just about a couple of weeks. Anyways, guys, I wanted to just say that for today, I wasn't able to really post too many videos. I had a bit of a family emergency that ended up coming up. That's why I was kind of unavailable today. And this is why the video I'm recording is going to be kind of short for this one. And also is why it's like really late. So unfortunately, I'm going to be very occupied, at least for the rest of the day. I'll try to make this video very quick and very concise. However, starting tomorrow, everything will go back to normal with all my constant uploads, lots of updates about Tesla news and such. And I want to keep you guys updated on everything that's going on. But once again, guys, things happen in life. I'm completely okay. I'm a little bit saddened by some events, but I'm fine, at least right now. It doesn't really involve me. It has more to do with like other people in my own family. So things happen in life, and we have to stay strong and remain optimistic, and also just keep our heads up no matter what. So I just wanted to say that. So that's the reason why I'm kind of late right now and why I'm a little bit less active. It's very rare for that to happen to me, but things like this happen and we just have to continue forward anyways. So now moving forward, when it comes to Tesla, I just wanted to say that Tesla's in a very, very interesting place on the 4 hour time frame. Okay, in the 4 hour time frame, the range Tesla's in is very tight right here. This is a very, very tight range. You guys can see where my cursor is. This is what Tesla's been doing for the last 2 weeks. Look at volatility for the last 2 weeks. We've been stuck in this tiny little pocket of space. And then the main volatility range of Tesla tends to be much bigger. Historically, if you look at the last few months, Tesla was very volatile until the last like 4 weeks. It's been kind of stuck in this tight range. So eventually, Tesla's going to kind of exit this phase of consolidation. We're going to be looking for a big move up or a big move down, right? There's some examples of this. So, like, for example, right here, Tesla was in a tight range of consolidation for about almost 2 weeks, right over here, almost 2 weeks, back and forth, back and forth. We eventually got a big move to the downside, right? You guys can see how that happened right over there. And then there's another example. You see these sometimes kind of like develop right here. Sometimes you get very, very brief periods where Tesla's just consolidating, like right here, before we got a big move to the downside. Right here, Tesla was trading sideways for like about a week before we saw a move from 244 all the way down to about 228, 20-point drop. And we tend to see moves like this, right? When we trade sideways, we tend to see moves to the downside. Sometimes it's the upside too. It goes both ways. But I just wanted to make it very clear that sometimes things like this happen to Tesla, and we just have to be very patient with the way this is going to end up moving. So there's going to be a big move coming to Tesla eventually. There's going to be a big one coming, but we're not ready yet, and we have to wait and see which way we break. So I will give you guys more details about this in just a few minutes, but I first want to talk about some data for tomorrow. As a reminder, tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, June 4th, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 30 minutes after the market ends up opening. We have the JOLTS job openings report. We also have some very important economic optimism data and the JOLTS job quits data. This is coming out 30 minutes after market open at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's going to cause some volatility for tomorrow. Additionally, at 11:30 a.m., we have the 42-day bill auction coming out. That's going to be very important. This may cause some more volatility, so we'll see how things end up going. But the main time to be watching for data and volatility is 30 minutes after open at 10 a.m. Now, for more data, as a reminder, we have some earnings coming out for tomorrow. We just had GitLab and very minor ones, nothing's too crazy. We have Bath and Body Works coming out before the market opens tomorrow. Not to mention CrowdStrike after the market closes. Then we have Dollar Tree before open, Campbell's before open, and a few more. Then we have like Big Lots and more retail coming out for Thursday and beyond. But most of the earnings are very, very minor, at least for the majority of this week. Now, for us moving forward, I just wanted to say that the fear and greed index is currently at neutral, kind of in the middle, a little bit closer to the greedy side, just by a bit. We are starting to see buyers defending, and greed is making up the majority of momentum. So, momentum right now is greedy, and we'll see how things end up developing from here. On top of this, for the puts and call option positioning, we also have this little dip coming. We have a 0.75 ratio right over here, so the majority of positions are still, once again, shifting. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in the ratio. that was happening, and that is still now starting to slow down. So that's the very important thing. As this starts to dip, we're starting to see a lot more call buying, at least in the overall market, which does contribute to more upside, and that's kind of like how sentiment is shifting. And lastly, we also have the VIX rejecting off the daily 50 moving average. So that's important because it's showing weakness, and we still have a gap to fill below on the VIX, which suggests that there's more upside potential for the markets. As far as Tesla goes, Tesla's trying to sell its new Model 3 Performance in China. Good news for them. This is going to help to boost sales, especially amidst the fact that competition is very fierce. A lot of headlines are talking about how the latest Chinese EV companies are doing relatively well with all of their overall stuff. So that's going to be very important. I think that it's very great to see how things are developing, and I'm very excited to see what else ends up coming out from these announcements. Also, with the new performance, that's going to be very interesting and something else that's worth noting. I think that with this price of about $46,000, that's a pretty good price. I know there's a lot of competition with prices moving forward, but that is something worth noting, as this will be very popular in my personal opinion. The Model 3 is a hit over there, so I can't wait to see how things end up developing. Now, for GLJ Research, they came out and gave Tesla a sell rating, unfortunately. Besides that, other companies are still giving them overweight ratings, more analysts out there. The price price ratio is completely flat. It's like a pancake because Tesla's not really done much for many, many weeks. It's been like this for almost the entire month of May and still kind of stuck. Now, Tesla has a tendency of being green about 52% of the time, at least on Tuesdays. It tends to be a decent time for the month and the week, excuse me. And for the month of June, we do have a tendency of being bullish the majority of the time. So we'll see if this ends up playing out. I still think there is upside potential coming for the month. We have to give it some time. And there tends to be more volatility around, 60% of the time we're green during the 10 o'clock a.m. hour, Eastern Standard Time, also around noon. So look for volatility at those times. And then we also have, let me just double check one more thing, volume. Currently at 68 million, a little bit low volume. There's not a whole lot coming out for Tesla. So the question is, what's going to happen moving forward? I want to be very quick with this. So in my opinion, the chart is bullish overall. This is like the bigger picture for the next couple of weeks, 3, 4 weeks. We look bullish. To me, it looks like the odds do favor a push towards 200 based off technicals alone. Now, for the shorter term, and let me just clarify, even if we do get some kind of dip for the short term, we're going to likely get bought back up and try to push up to the 200s in the next couple of weeks. However, we can't just solely trade based off the 4 hour and just based off bigger time frames, because in the shorter term, what's happening in Tesla is we're just kind of trading sideways. We're just going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. There's not really a whole lot going on with it. If we lose the 173 area, we're going to be looking for a dip down to 168. And we break past 180, we're going to be looking for a push for 182, then 185. Overall, we're just kind of stuck right now. We're not really doing a whole lot. So we're still kind of in the middle. With that being said, for Tesla, as we're kind of stuck in this range, there's not really much going on with it until we see a new move. But for Tesla, what I think is very probable is we just continue to range trade for a bit. I am hoping we try to break out past 180, but we haven't been able to do so. And that's actually not the best of signs for Tesla. Today we popped to 182 and we kind of failed. So Tesla struggled to hold above 180. So it's still not showing the strength we really want. In my opinion, there's a good chance we might just continue to chop around, trade sideways for some time. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla kind of like dips a bit and then starts pushing back up to 180 and just continues to trade within this range. But just know if we could get a close above 180 and hold above it, there is potential for 182 to 185, and then eventually, if we break 185, we're easily pushing closer to 200. In my opinion. If we lose 173, then we're going to turn bearish and there's going to be a drop down to 168. Tesla's heavily news dependent, so we'll see how the news goes. But for now, it's just completely range bound, doesn't really have much of a direction. So I'm just waiting. I've been waiting for weeks. We're still waiting to see which way this thing's about to break. So we have to give it some time. I personally believe that in the month of June, this month, we are going to get that move. Historically, it does tend to happen. So I'm optimistic the move is going to come, but we just have to wait and see for the time being. Now, the overall market has bullish potential. This might help Tesla push it above. So I do lean a bit more in favor of bulls eventually. Instead of us coming down to like fill the gap and then bounce, we could just bounce from here. So I do see the inverse head and shoulders as a very strong possibility. And I also favor this because of the markets. For SPY, we look bullish overall. And here's the reason why. We kind of like pumped today in the morning. It's about 529. Then we got a big drop down to 522. Then we got bought back up. But notice the trend. We had this low here. We came high, made a higher high, higher low, higher high. We're trying to break out, in my personal opinion. And when we dipped, the buyers came back and they defended, and SPY ended up closing the green. So that shows us that the buyers are on top, and SPY will eventually push to the 530s. The trend for the last 2 days has been a dip upon a little pop when we opened and a dip for the first couple of hours. The market starts dropping only to get bought back up again. And I favor that that's going to happen again. Tomorrow, look for a kind of like a pump upon open. We might see a dip again before it tries to continue to push higher. I'm going to be looking for a price target of 530. For Bitcoin, we're looking a little bit more decent overall. There could be a little dip coming towards this 68,500 area before we try to bounce again. So I'll be watching for that very carefully. And then for a few more like the triple Q, in my personal opinion, we're looking more bullish as we're nearing a bullish cross in the PPO. We had this low down here. We came up, made a lower. We made this new high right here relative to this side. We came down, made a higher low. Then we're just trying to continue to push. If we were to lose 452, I could turn a little bit concerned if we do close below that, but we're still closing above 453, which is a good sign. My technicals kind of favor a push towards at least 456 to the imbalance, 456.5 to 457. So technicals look more bullish. Look for a drop tomorrow, then a pop higher. That looks a lot more probable. Apple's looking more bullish. If we were to hypothetically lose 193, I'll be looking at 191.89 to 192 as support. And if we end up breaking past resistance around 195, we could push higher. My guts tells me we might kind of dip a bit and start pushing higher for 195. Apple looks a bit more bullish overall. For a few more, let's just go over just a few more. Coinbase is kind of range bound. We have 232 as resistance, 228 as support. We're kind of trading sideways right here within this range. If we break this resistance, we could push higher. If we lose this support, we could be dipping. Overall, we're still holding up nicely, so we might try to rebound, but we're still kind of range bound. Amazon is trying to rebound a bit as well. We're going to be looking for a push to 179. Eventually, 180 is resistance, so I do favor upside a little bit more. For Meta's actually trying to rebound a bit. It depends if we could hold above 472 or not. If we hold that, then we're bullish. If we lose that, we could turn bearish. But to me, it looks like it's going to try to push for 480 again, looking like it's still kind of in a range, but it has potential to go a little higher. If Microsoft could break past 415.5, we're going to be looking for a push for 418 and 420. If we fail to do so, we reject, but it looks to me like it's going to try to push. So it looks a bit more bullish overall for the resistance levels I just called out. If we break 175 on Alphabet, we're going to be looking for a push all the way up to the imbalance at 177. That looks more probable, but it depends if we break resistance, but I do favor that a bit more. For GME could push a little bit higher. If we do break past 32, we're going to be looking for a bigger push towards 35 plus. And then AMC is also looking a little bit more bullish. We're going to be looking at the $5 area. If this breaks, we'll look at 5.25. So this is looking a little bit more bullish as well. If we do hold, if we lose 4.6, we turn back to bearish, but I do favor it's going to try to bounce. If we lose, 4.6 though, there's a gap to fill. So just be careful with that. But it does look to me like it's trying to bounce right here. So just be careful. Last thing I'm going to say, I'm going to make this video kind of short, guys, because, I have the emergency coming up. There's a gap to fill on the VIX. So to me, it looks like the VIX is going to dip more because the market's going to push higher. So that being said, thank you all so much for listening. As far as Tesla goes, we have a nice inverse head and shoulders like structure that's developing, and I see a lot of potential in this chart to push higher. But despite that, that's like a more medium-term projection. For the short term, we're still very choppy, very sideways, so we're just waiting to see what the direction will be. So give it some time, guys. 173, Tesla likes to bounce off that. We have resistance at 180, going back and forth for the last 3-4 weeks. So give it some time, and we'll see how things go. All right. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. I'm making this video very quick. Starting tomorrow, everything is going to go back to normal. And for anyone that's going through like hardships or emergencies, my heart goes out to you. I have a lot of sympathy and empathy for the people out there. And just stay strong, guys, no matter what happens. Keep your heads up. Never give up. And I will see you guys very soon tomorrow. My videos go back to normal starting tomorrow. I'll be uploading more frequently and such. So until then, take care, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you, and peace out.